Hello, 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 hello. All right, that should be something. That should be doing something. All right, I think we got sound working now. It's back and it's been a long time, so it's taken a sec to figure all this out. But I wanted to come back and yeah, the camera shit. That's kind of fucked. My bad, guys. Um, it was working fine yesterday when I was testing it out. But let me get to share screen and let's get to talking some business. All right. This looks normal, right? Let me open up YouTube on something else so I can see the comments. Let me mute this. All right, all right. I'm gonna get to the comments. I'll see who's here and say my highs, and then we can get into the business. Uh, Funky, yo. All right, Dustin, yo, yo. Good to see you all. Good to see you all. Funky TV. Good to see you, brother. What's with the beard? Yeah, I just been spending a lot of time indoors lately. I don't really. These markets have been crazy, and I've just kind of been staying out of staying at home a lot more lately. So you don't always look in the mirror. You know what I'm saying? It's like, damn. So you could go 3, 4, 5 days without even looking in the mirror without realizing it. You just brush your teeth and you don't even really look at yourself, you know? Anyways, I am gonna go out in public today, so I will look better hopefully tomorrow. Yo, Brian, yeah, yep. Been a long time, buddy. Been a long time. We Yeah, I don't know, you go through phases in life and I went through a very interesting and long humility phase, a humbling phase. I was humbled big and I have gained a lot of strength as a result of that. It's been a great looking back on everything and I'm talking years, since you guys have known me, since I started doing all this. It's been crazy, man. Past couple of years in particular. So yeah, I kind of got knocked off the horse and didn't really want to get back on and lost some steam and started rebuilding myself more recently and uh yeah, that's why pretty much. Brush your teeth. Yeah, dude, I brush my teeth. And I'd like to eat that chew that xylitol gum. I chew xylitol gum. I don't know if you guys are familiar with xylitol gum, but I came across it through a Joe Rogan Experience episode and you can you know chew this gum that has thing called xylitol in it, an ingredient, and xylitol kills the bacteria in your mouth that caused cavities. And yeah, so I like to chew this stuff. I've heard some really good stories about it. So yeah, I like that stuff. And yeah, amen. Stay strong to everyone. Amen, dude. Everyone, dude. This world is like with this. There's been some twists and turns. Like there's been some interesting twists and turns in the world. It's we all know I got, banned a while back for saying some things that are, clearly true now and were definitely true then as well. But, it's just getting louder and louder and louder. And there's a period of time where you get angry about the fact that you were right and you were angry because, before everyone else realized you were right. And then you got angry because some people don't want to accept reality. That's a fucking weird thing to deal with, so it's let me turn off this recording here on my YouTube. I was making sure the audio is working. So yeah, I think everyone needs to stay strong right now. This has been a weird phase, I think, for everyone. Doesn't matter who you are. And so, hopefully all of you have been successful and hitting life and waking up with some strong, powerful fucking, let's get it done type of mentality. And I think one of the things I kind of acknowledge about myself is I can operate well in isolation, very well, like autistically well at whatever I'm passionate about. And that passion can change. And that passion can change from self-destructive behavior patterns, or it could be, self-beneficial behavior things, or activities, I should say, and or a mixture of both, and right now I'm leaning more, especially, in the past number of months, I should say, it's not like a today thing, but been yeah, a lot more realizing that maybe a lot of us are feeling isolated and that's not helping anyone. And I think us sticking together would probably help a lot of us keep our heads out of that hole. And I think that us getting back together as a group, there's a lot of core people that I know that, immediately when they showed up in the comments, uh I was just like, I know a lot of you guys personally from events and just hanging out and smoking cigars and stuff at events. And I think everyone has this like beautiful innate quality, and the world is really trying to confuse us and separate us and get us to think different things and really start to use a scalpel. This guy doesn't like these things, and that turns you into this whole extravagant version of whatever you not liking one thing is. Now you belong to this whole fucking list of things that you don't like. It's crazy. Can't just not like something and then that's it. You have to be on the side of like this whole, I don't, now I represent these things, this whole list of things, and it's like really what I represent is, quite neutral, very neutral ground. So yeah, I'm back, and I'm hoping that I'm here, brothers, and to anyone out there, for my brothers and everyone, I love you all. I'm here. I've always been on Telegram responding to a lot of people, and I'm always there, and I've even had video calls with people a lot, and still talk Bitcoin, still talk personal, still talk theology, still talk philosophy, still talk economics, anything. Like I'm still here, man. Only if anything, smarter and fucking better, 10 times fucking smarter and better. And through the glory of God, my life is fucking great, and I've learned a fuck ton, man. Shit, you learn a lot through pain. I'll tell you that. Um, yeah. I'm under no obligation to be the person I was 5 minutes ago, Dustin. Yeah, I like that. I like that. Yeah. And it's crazy going through life. These amazing, extraordinary changes you go through, and you reach this pinnacle where you think you really, really are figuring things out, and you're on this hot streak, and it kind of goes. And this is also the life of trading too. You can hit trade after trade. You get epiphany after epiphany, and then you start to think, you're onto something, and you're climbing this mountain again, and then next thing you know, there's the two-step backs. You might have made a few steps forward, and you need a couple steps back to really let everything settle in. And I think those times are when we definitely don't want to let each other ride off into the fucking darkness and handle that alone. It's not always necessary. It's not always necessary. I think everyone is capable of handling it, but I think it's not completely necessary. It's like, why make something harder? It's not like life is a video game and use the cheats when you have them, but there are uh abilities that we have as humans to help one another. And I think that's especially, man to man, there's a really big thing in understanding that I'm speaking to someone who's been through a lot of the things that I've been, maybe in you know, wording the sentences differently, but we've experienced a lot of the same things in life. And yeah, I think it's important. We got, let's talk fucking shit. Let's make money. Let's fucking, keep each other in line. Let's make sure we're all doing the right shit, and hold each other accountable. We were doing that back before I left New Jersey, with push-ups and all that kind of shit. And all kinds of homework assignments. Remember, we were doing the go say hello to a random stranger at a grocery store, buy the person behind you a candy bar, or whatever the fuck, just to get you used to breaking the ice. We've gone through a lot of phases, guys. We've gone through a lot of phases, and we've been together a lot of this time. So I've always been around. You can always reach me on Telegram at Joe_Saz Saz. So remember, at Joe_Saz. I believe that's in the description of the YouTube video, or the Bitcoin Lounge might be in the description video, or both possibly. But yeah, at Joe_Saz. Any one of you could have been reaching out to me at all times, and Al Cubes is someone I had a few chats with, not a little while back, but it's been good. A lot of you guys are great, and yeah. So, anyways, let's talk. There's something that came up to me, and I've been getting this question, and it popped up, and I really like wanted to touch base on this. And it's crazy. I know this is the first video, but I probably should have started with intro video and then jumped into Bitcoin stuff because now anyone that clicks on this is going to be like, oh shit, we got fucking 10, 15 minutes of some fuckhead talking about bullshit. But let's get into the Bitcoin. Fuck. You all right? This stuff is where I was starting to get a little bit of like a little bit more interest back in the space. We're starting to get some spice, something fucking hot. Jeffrey Epstein involved in Bitcoin, and we get these emails and all this stuff. And of course, there's tons of terrible things being discovered as a result of that, all of which we knew, most of us, uh, to some degree, but that it was bad and that it was involving very, very bad people. But one of the things that we didn't expect to see anywhere in Epstein files was Bitcoin, other than maybe for the use of like, transactions. But, they talk about how Jeffrey Epstein created Bitcoin. That's kind of been a narrative that I've heard thrown at me. And so I started digging into it a little bit, and people sent me some shit. And I read some of these emails that talk about how Jeffrey Epstein was involved or was paying money for some sort of blockchain developers, potentially in the Bitcoin sphere. This is so the years that I'm reading these emails date to the 2014, 2015 range. Maybe there was one a little bit like 2016 or 2017, but I'm talking a pocket of time there. I didn't see anything as early as, January 3rd, 2009. Prior to that, I didn't see any emails. There are a lot of weird things about Bitcoin and the different types of technology used to create it, and this element of that technology was invented by the CIA or whatever, and this element was created by some fucking Zionist Jew that's involved in the global cabal scheme, whatever, and whatever, okay, fucking whatever. The truth is, for these emails in particular, I'm only seeing evidence that potentially this guy was trying to do some sort of blockchain development, potentially had even blockchain developers on bit like that specialize in Bitcoin, might have even had blockchain developers in high places like Blockstream. Who knows? Dude used blackmail and probably, drugged smart and amazing people. Some of them were probably mostly innocent, and these people wake up the next day and they have videos of them doing shit. And then they're like, well, they got this guy saying, hey, now you're part of the crew. You either, and we ride or die, which is really no different than a freaking simple gang in the hood. So there's some interesting stuff going on. All right, all right. Jeffrey Epstein is pasted on Bitcoin somewhere, but the dates are what concern me. It's Bitcoin was created by Satoshi Nakamoto. We know very little about Satoshi Nakamoto still to this day. We don't know who it is. Speculation aside, Bitcoin had a few years of early development after its Genesis block. Some bugs were discovered, but I think arguably, it was a very centralized coin back then. You had just a few participants on the Bitcoin network. Hal Finney, one of them, and even Craig Wright and some other very early people, and they were finding exploits, fixing them. There was a hard fork in Bitcoin's ancient past to hard fork into a Bitcoin that had the 21 million supply cap. I think it was like 20.9999998 million, Bitcoin type of thing. Uh, but yeah, there was an exploit early in the Bitcoin days where I think they made it 210 million supply through a glitch or something like that. So my point is that in these early days, Bitcoin was incepted, it was created, it was largely developed in a small centralized community of crypto nerds, cypherpunks, and by 2011, where Mount Goxing thing is massive. Now fucking every computer nerd, you know, is plugging in, a BlackBerry or whatever the fuck to get involved in mining or node operating, whatever. And that created this very massive democracy in Bitcoin. And the thing, like, how do you, really, really affect the hearts of Bitcoin? And that is through code. And no code's going to pass without the approval of the community. And it obviously has to go through a lot of scrutiny to as a Bitcoin improvement proposal to get even implemented. It takes years, and sometimes the crazy thing, which I've talked about with at Grassfed Bitcoin on Twitter, what we talked about back in the day was that like sometimes you'll have an idea that comes out. I think Schnorr signatures was a potential example, and it was out for many years, and it was proposed many years earlier in the earlier days of like Bitcoin, improvement proposals, and it was kind of rejected at the time. And then, as time went on, it got on the bandwagon because yeah, it was good and useful now. And yeah, so I think like yeah, it's pretty clear to me that Bitcoin has undergone enough of its life to successfully achieve decentralization because you have too many people that can operate a node from their home that have an equal say in the voting for a Bitcoin improvement proposal. I don't think that the code has been corrupted. And I think if it had been, I think there would be very, very brilliant people that would have exposed this to us long, long ago. I mean, Bitcoin is the greatest hack on planet Earth. If you can hack the Satoshi wallet, I mean, there's all kinds of interesting things about Bitcoin, any wallet for that matter. Like Bitcoin has probably in the heist intellectual heist world, I'm assuming Bitcoin is at the top of the list of assets to steal or at least accumulate. So ooh, interesting. Dustin says thoughts on BIP 10. Well, I don't know BIPs by specifics, and I'm not 100% sure I'll have a great opinion, but I will look it up real quick. So my thing about the Epstein stuff, and the reason I'm like, I'll explain everything here. All right. So this doesn't really scare me. The Epstein thing, what the background I just set here is that the Epstein stuff doesn't scare me. It doesn't make me think Bitcoin is founded by Epstein, a pedophile or whatever, and this whole underground network. And if it was used by them, sure, yeah. The U.S. dollar still probably to this day is the most widely used currency for uh illegal, international, internationally used illegal fucking, medium of exchange. The dollar is still probably the standard. Bitcoin probably accounts for a small fraction, maybe even less than 5% probably of global fucking maybe it's higher than it was when I did this research back in the day, but I'm sure so it's higher, but I'm sure it's still not even close to 50-50 against the US dollar. Um, but yeah, basically my point is, look, Epstein involved in 2014 and on with Bitcoin core developers in his emails doesn't mean shit to me. Bitcoin has successfully achieved decentralization. I think it did so even before 2014, and by now most certainly has. And I would bet that if there was a problem, we'd have someone like Adam Back, Jimmy Song, Giacomo Zucco, any of these brilliant minds and any of these amazing communities of brilliant minds would have exposed something. So I'm not really Jeffrey Epstein now. Why does this matter? Because the dump fucking happened right after. Everyone was like, Epstein created Bitcoin, we had the dump. You guys, like that to me is basically just the black swan in March 2020. This bull market has been completely different than every other bull market in the past, starting with an all-time high pre-halving and then going up and sideways and down, through April last year, we had a crazy crash from I think 108 to 70 whatever, then up to 120, and then now we've seen as low as a lower low than that. Um, so uh yeah, I think I think cycles now are longer. I honestly think cycles are just longer. Since these suits have been involved, I think the cycles are no longer going to be the 4 year cycle. I think there's a lot of money to be made, and there was probably more money to be made in all these cycles previously, but had they drawn things out, they might have slowed down the distance between all-time highs. Who knows? Who knows? Market makers, liquidity providers are the ones that govern the ebb and flow of the market. It's retail that probably accounts for a very small percentage of an order book moving up or down. It's probably the pulling of massive liquidity providers, pulling a massive amount of orders, and then using a very small amount of liquidity, including your liquidity, to move the price up and then build FOMO and then pull more red carpets, roll it out for the green candle to go, right? So I think cycles are just getting longer, and it's as long as we stay above the mining equilibrium price, I'm going to be okay with price action for the most part. I'm not thinking that Bitcoin is dead. I'm not thinking that Bitcoin is going down to $1,000 or whatever. I don't think it's headed into a death spiral. I could explain any of those things to anyone that may have questions, what a death spiral is or any of that. Um, but yeah, I think it's pretty. I think the cycles are longer, and I think this was our March 2020 Black Swan event. Came out of nowhere. No one expected something like this to happen. Markets are going nuts. Gold crazy, silver crazy, probably copper up next, by the way. Clip that chat. Just kidding. Love you guys using some streamer talk. Um, betting you copper is going to be the next silver. Silver is going to keep going. Copper is probably the poor man's silver, as silver was the poor man's gold. I bet you probably some of the greatest returns on stable coin asset like that would be probably greatest percent return. My bet would be on copper. But you guys have known I've been interested in copper for a long time, many years. Um, so yeah, I think this was just kind of COVID, similar to the COVID crash. Black Swan, unforeseeable. Market clearly had a response to it. We dumped into massive support. I mean, it's to me, it's pretty cut and dry. The evidence to me is not simply that we shifted from a bull market to a bear market. I'm not convinced of that yet. Bitcoin has too many wild plays where you can fall through the floor of, let's say, a moving average that's really important to you, and then it could revalidate that, a month later. Bitcoin has done some crazy shit, and we got to accept that it's going to probably be doing more crazy shit. You know, um, now I look at, some of these lows, like this is probably right now the way I view this is the way that I felt when I was live streaming to you guys and I got liquidated during the COVID crash of what, March 12th, 2020? Something like that. Or no, March 10th. I don't know, something like that. February 12th might have been it. And I got liquidated, right? And then I remember this feeling of like, shit, we could, we're probably not going to go lower, but I'm too scared to buy. Like we're at $4,000. We crashed at 3,300 or something, maybe around about 3,500, whatever it was. We crashed from ultimately 10,500 to the 7,500 mark where a lot of us went long. And then the COVID crash went down. We were live streaming that. BitMEX was going crazy. It was just absolute mayhem. Remember, BitMEX even shut down during that crash, if you guys recall. Um, uh, yeah. So, and quick side note. Yo, Ryan, my brother, what's up? Yeah. Yeah, all right. All right. So Dustin, I'm gonna have to get back to you on BIP 10. I see your comments, but I gotta be honest. I don't know much about it, and I don't have a comment just yet. But I would like to get a little bit more read up on that. Have I sold some of the silver? Have I sold some of the silver, guys? You guys, that's funny. You remember that? I have in fact sold some silver, and I am happy with how I did things. I'm happy with how I did things. And I still think it has higher to go. I still think silver should be at $500 an ounce. So that's my thoughts. But yeah, I've sold some. Uh, and then we got, um, yeah. So we were talking about the liquidation stream. I got liquidated on wherever I was trading, and then we looked at BitMEX just to see because that was like the premier exchange at the time. Probably more so nowadays is Binance or Bybit or whatever. But yeah, BitMEX was going nuts. The order book was fucking fried. Liquidity was getting sucked dry. It was getting removed. What liquidity was a sleeper cell or whatever, someone with a position, a sleeper position, probably got liquidated. It was absolute mayhem. And then I remember we came out at like 3,500 or so, and then came and kind of doubled down. And I was like, I need to be buying this. I need to be buying this. I'm so scared of what happened though, and my emotions were holding me back. But my gut was saying, buy this, and I didn't. And that was another thing that's going into all this stuff. Why I think I'm very interested in kind of coming back a little bit here because it was pretty bad what happened. I think a lot of people are going to be really trying to explain this and probably I think do a bad job. You guys know me. Very few people I trust in the technical worlds. But yeah, this was real nasty. That was real nasty. Let's look at that absolute low. Was Wow, 60 on the dot. So there was clearly a hard line at 60K, and we have a higher low with support. Obviously, it's going to be a grind out of here, but I just have a feeling that this is a good time to dollar cost average. You haven't been, and I'm not financial advising. I am gonna have a chat with Tone. Thank you, Dustin. I'm gonna I now that I'm gonna be streaming, I want to get some guests and I want to get back out there and stuff. So yeah, I'll be talking. I'll make sure to note that me and Tone talk about Bit 10. And Tone, I haven't spoke with him. I think I wished him happy New Year and stuff like that. But and he came to visit me like a year ago or something, maybe a little more. But yeah, he's still a good friend. Yeah, Ryan S. You remember that BitMEX liquidation bot? It was just stabbing everyone that tried to defend price. Every single person. BitMEX was fucking just stabbing them. And then eventually they just turned off the exchange because they couldn't control their own fucking liquidation bot, man. That thing was stacking orders at the top of the book. Liquidity was getting swept down, and then they would stack the top of the book again over and over and over again. And there was no chance that Bitcoin was going to get out of that hole with that liquidation bot running fucking double overtime. Yeah, yeah. Beauty and Chaos podcast. Glad you all good, bros. Glad you are good too, brother. Uh, Haas, William's still doing his push-ups. You make me laugh. Of course, of course. Uh, Probably does more push-ups than most people, I would say. Um, we have a lot of fun, and we got a pull-up bar now too, so we do some pull-ups. But yeah, it's push-ups are still very much a part of either if you want something really special, then I want some push-ups. Those are your dollars, or a good way to good way to inspire him not to throw gutter balls in bowling league. I tell him if he throws a gutter ball on his first throw, then he owes me 10 push-ups. And if he throws a gutter ball on his second throw as well, then that's 20 push-ups. So I don't doesn't matter if there's a whole bunch of kids bowling, it's like, after you throw that ball, get doing push-ups because if you're going to not pay attention to your footwork and you're going to ignore everything that you've been taught about how to walk in a straight line and throw a ball, then if you're not going to be very smart, then at least you're going to be strong as fuck. That's my philosophy. But he is smart as fuck, and I realize sometimes I hold him too high of a standard. It's an interesting journey as a parent. He is a very smart kid for his age, and sometimes I treat him like double his age, and I realize as a father I need to step back sometimes. So we actually had that talk the other day. Right? He's old enough to understand these things, I feel like. So we talked about it, and I was like, yo, I'm gonna calm down a bit. I still, I love you. I expect a lot from you, but I do realize, you're young, so I gotta give you some benefit of the doubt here. I gotta teach him. I realize a lot of my expectations and my anger as a father was coming as a result of my lack of proper explanation. If I explain something perfectly and he doesn't get it, then you know, did I actually is kind of the question. According to my, terminology and dictionary in my brain, probably did, yeah. But to his terminology in his brain, he's still figuring out some of those, concepts. So I think he might have understood a part of it, which made me think that he understood the whole thing. And then, I didn't realize that he didn't, so it's just an interesting thing. Parenting is great and you should be in the pursuit, the mastery of yourself at all times. And being a parent really puts the pressure on because the last thing you want to do is raise a bad child. Children are so amazing. And to raise a bad child, I think is a bad reflection of you as an individual. So, and not always, not always, kid can get addicted to fentanyl in their 30s, and that's not your fault as a parent if you, did every, once a kid becomes an adult, then there's probably some things that you just can't stop, to the best of your ability. You got to have faith, hopefully you raised a son that favorite that just really has Jesus in his heart and maybe will make some mistakes, but uh, at the end of the day, maybe Jesus is that safety net. Like that's the only one. That's probably the only one for a lot of these parents. I've seen it happen. A lot of my uncle died of fentanyl overdose, and my dad died of not that, but situation somewhat similar. So yeah, I think at a certain point, as parents, you got to realize, yeah, I don't think it was my grandparents' fault necessarily. I think my grandma went to every soccer game. My grandpa worked hard and the family had food and nice house and all that shit. And yeah, there's certainly elements you can argue that are missing, but it's like that's no reason to fucking die in your 50s to drugs. You know what I mean? Like because you got a bad run. It's I understand the pain that you can get into and how negative that feedback loop can go, especially the more isolated you are, which, you know, happens. Especially as you get depressed, you do isolate. You don't want to show your face around people that know you as one thing and then see you as the opposite. But yeah, at the end of the day, I think I'm just doing my best as a father to be there for William and I love my time with him. Always. I fucking love it, man. I love it. We have so much fun. Now, is William still all right? You happen to catch the Gaethje Pimblet fight? Absolutely, and I love talking about the fights. If anyone wants to talk about the fights, me and Tyler, me and Socrates were on the phone talking about the fights for the past couple weekends, not this last one though. But yeah, the fights are still very much a thing, and it's that Gaethje Pimblet fight was good. I thought the UFC's been really, really trying too hard to run Patty through the rankings. And, he was like kind of their Sean O'Malley of the lightweight division. They thought, going to really be the next Conor McGregor. They're really trying to recreate the next Conor McGregor. They tried it with Sean O'Malley, got big, didn't really work. Merab kind of blew up, had a sense of humor. Like, that Merab got bigger and the UFC probably spent way less money on marketing Merab. And Merab's growth rate probably skyrocketed more than Sean O'Malley's and UFC probably threw every marketing technique they had at Sean O'Malley. Not talking shit about any, these guys in particular, but I think Paddy Pimblett got kind of raced to the top. He definitely has one hell of a chin, has some skills, has a heart of steel, iron, whatever, gold. I think he also does have a heart of gold too. I think man to man, I bet you Paddy Pimblett would be one hell of a good dude to hang out with. Um, but since the Jared Gordon robbery decision went down and all that, he kind of lost a little bit of stock in my book. And then they ran him against like Tony Ferguson and Bobby Green and Michael Chandler, who probably was the best fit of the three of those. And those guys are all on their way out. Like Chandler was coming off of what 2 years waiting for McGregor to fight him to try to get his big payday. So it's like they kept giving him fucking easy dudes. Like Bobby Green has no ground game, and then Bobby Green takes a shot and he gets choked out in 10 seconds. Like, okay, and he's 40 years old or he's 39 years old. So I just didn't see it, man. I didn't see Patty coming in and winning. Justin Gaethje has fought at the top five of the UFC for many years now, and he's fought. He's been fucking amazing and previously before his UFC career. So I was like, dude, Justin Gaethje, like he was belt or nothing for like a year, and he got the belt finally. I don't think he was gonna lose, man. I don't think Gaethje. I don't think loss was an option for Gaethje, man. And I think he's got one of those what unique capabilities where he blocks punches as much with his head as his hands, and it's it's gotta be quite a surprise to you when you rip someone in the face with your hardest punch and they are not on the ground with the eyes rolled into the back of their head. That's got to be one of the craziest feelings. Got to be one of the craziest feelings when you hit someone as hard as you possibly can and they don't even look phased. And that's what Justin Gaethje is. Think about when he fought Max Holloway. He got his nose broken in round one and fought on to 5 rounds, got KO'd in the last 1 second left of the fight. Um, yeah, so I thought it was a fun fight, a good fight. I didn't see Patty winning. I'm glad Gaethje won, and I think Patty did earn some respect that day for sure. So I'd like to see him up against some of these other guys. I thought Dan Hooker was probably be going to be one of the good fights for him. Unfortunately, Dan Hooker went versus BSD went pretty bad, and now we're dealing with a totally different fucking future. I thought Dan Hooker was going to take BSD or at least make it a little interesting. I think the ref knowing it's Dan Hooker like probably shouldn't have called it, but I think it was a fair stoppage. But being that it's Dan Hooker and the dude is kind of like a high level pain psycho, I don't think he stopped that fight. He was intelligently defending himself, though BSD was laying on some heavy damage. I don't think Dan Hooker was as hurt enough for the ref to stop the fight, but it did look bad. The picture, the image, was really bad, and I can't argue the stoppage. Dan Hooker ending up in that position, that's his own fault, And I love Dan Hooker, so like he shouldn't have ended up there, full mount, getting fucking hell rained down on him. Uh, yeah, yeah, Bo Nickel. They're changing it up with Bo Nickel. I think they needed to, man. And RDR put on one hell of a performance. And I don't think that was a fraud exposure. A lot of people are like really on this like love or hate relationship with any of these newcomers and all these people. It's like, dude, guys, embrace the fucking future. I love the idea of kids growing up rolling BJJ and wrestling and doing all this MMA training. And now and being and seeing fucking think about my son, he was watching UFC fights as a baby, seeing fucking Michael Chandler versus Justin Gaethje. He doesn't realize it, but he's been raised into this shit. And to see these kids that are raised into mainstream MMA since a young age and with these crazy skills and understanding like the levels that are involved in these skills and how to become the best, and there's some great coaches out there and great facilities and programs and spend I think we need to really embrace the future, the next generation of the UFC. I think it does have the potential to be better than it was. I think Tom Aspinall is actually a shining example of that in the heavyweight division. I think Tom Aspinall is the best heavyweight of all time. I think it will go down in history as the best heavyweight of all time, but it's too early to call that one. But I bet you that's what we'll be saying. Tom Aspinall moves very differently. He's not looking for a one punch KO. He has all the skills and he can also one punch KO you. But the heavyweight division is now changed, and he has probably been, so the heavyweight division was great with steroids and terrible without steroids, and Tom Aspinall without steroids is making it great again. That's my opinion. Talk amongst yourselves. Uh, Oh, nice, Ryan. Yeah, I was thinking that stoppage, man. And I think Bo Nickel is great. I think a lot of these things about people saying, "Oh, fraud check this guy, fraud check that guy, newcomer." PSD was even saying he got fraud checked because he fought Poirier. Dude, he fought Poirier, who fucking would kill most men on earth with his bare hands. So that's not a fraud check, bro. That's Dustin Poirier being a badass for accepting a fight against an absolute fucking killer on the rise, and it's experience showing that a killer on the rise with adrenaline and energy isn't enough to beat wisdom and hours spent in the octagon, which is what Dustin Poirier has. So yeah, I'm leaning more towards, I like Bo Nickel. I still think he's going to be great, and RDR was great for defeating him. Those knees were absolutely savage. I think the first knee that landed, probably within the first three knees, I bet you that's when the fight was won, and Bo Nickel was just trying to hang on. And I think, a lot of people think, oh, I get punched in the face a few times and that dude's real tough. There's some hits to the body where if you stay standing for 4 minutes after that, that's tough as shit too, tough as nails. I think Bo Nickel got ripped in the body real hard, and I think that he got fucking hit in the solar plex, a couple times, and his RDR's knee went up real high, and Bo Nickel is doing a good, I think he's doing a great job in the UFC, man. I think he needs to be more active, especially if he's going to fight his way slowly but surely up the rankings. I think everyone should be more active instead of complaining about fighter pay. If your contract is 5 fights at $10,000, then fight. If with no injuries, I would fight 5 weekends in a row. That would be my goal, and then build up the fucking crowd, get them behind me, and then fucking sign a new contract. 5 more fights and 10x the value. That everyone loves active fighters, dude. Look at that fucking like Cortez dude that just came in and had 2 fights at the end of last year or something like that, and then came into the beginning of this year. He got eye poked and then stepped in on. He got eye poked and won that fight in knockout, and then he won his next fight by knockout, if I'm not mistaken. And then he fought Derek Lewis last weekend or something like that, and or the weekend before, I can't remember. But he fucking made Derek Lewis look like shit and kind of exposed the heavyweight division for its one punch power approach being useless. So yeah, I'm more I like a lot of these young kids. I think that we're moving into a great era of the UFC, and there's been plenty of great, every era has had its amazing timeless timeless fights. Rory McDonald versus oh shit. He just got into the Hall of Fame. Who am I thinking of? Who fought Rory McDonald? Shit, that just got into the Hall of Fame maybe 2 years ago or something, and he had his retirement fight, won, left on top. Who was it? Rory McDonald fought. Ryan, please save me on this, or Dustin, save me. Darius Lewis took a dive. Oh shit, man. Well, he did take a dive. That dude didn't. He didn't look like his. It looked like his legs forced him to take a dive. And honestly, if he did take a dive, fuck, man, they'll probably find out. But Derek Lewis looked bad, man. And you know that Tai Tuivasa fight. Tai Tuivasa looked great like round one, and the other or round two, Tai Tuivasa was really looking great. Round one, I think the other guy was looking great, you know, and then round three, no one was looking great. It's like, dude, if you guys like, how do you not fight for 15 minutes? Like this is the job to come in and fight for 15 minutes or, you know, or knock the guy out. But you have to at least be able to fight for 15 minutes, I feel like, you know, and it's crazy to see, you know, some of these guys, and I'm not a professional at this stuff, you know. Um, when I used to train, you know, I can't say there's the same thing of a fight in the UFC octagon as the fucking, you know, New York City fucking back room, fucking, you know, back room of the dojo and fucking sorting it out with some, you know, between amongst ourselves. So, anyways, I thought the conditioning was way off. All the heavyweights looked like shit, and you know, they weren't fighting up in Denver, if I'm not mistaken. They were not fighting in like a very high altitude area where, you know, oxygen density can be an issue. Uh, who's John Fitch? No. Rory McDonald versus he has dark skin. Robbie Lawler. Robbie Lawler. Yeah. So Dustin, I mean, look, uh, I used to be a Derek Lewis fan, but I've seen him on his decline. And then when he came out and threw that flying knee to start round one and beat the fight to stop the ground guy from grounding him and making it boring, Derek Lewis comes out with a flying knee. I thought Derek Lewis was back. And then he goes on to fight and then slows down and not, you know, doesn't have the same energy. I thought Derek Lewis was about to have a revival, but I think he's relying too much on like one punch power and you know, fuck, man. And that Cortez guy is too good. He's got striking and he's got ground game. Like he could have won the fight on the ground and didn't, chose not to. He fucking yeah, man. I think he picked Derek Lewis apart. I think Derek Lewis is just the generation that we see this happen, you know, where the generation current is lean and athletic and has this drive that you just can't have forever. You know, I can't like even for trading. I don't have this. I used to want to trade every fucking candle, guys. Don't you remember that? I used to want to trade every candle. In fact, I would. I would probably, you know, in a 15-minute candle, potentially take three, five, as many trades as I could possibly see, especially back in the day when we were getting rebates on limit orders. Could make as many trades as long as they're break even, you were making a 0.05% profit or something like that, right? So man, you know, but it's like we were setting up positions, I was setting up positions all the time, fucking grinding, running it, typing it, having fun. And now a trade to me is a fucking chore. Yeah, as good as this, you know, market may be in it, and all these times these people have hit me up on Telegram and oh, are you in this position? Because I would say, yeah, you know, I would be long right now, you know, or I'd be short right now, whatever I'd be. And chances are I was right. And they're like, are you in? I was like, you know, let's say I was short and the move went down. Hey, good, you know, did you get in on that? I was like, nah. Like, I fucking to me, trading is such a fucking chore now, dude. It's such a chore. Maybe that'll change. You know, everything was a chore not long ago. So streaming was a chore, you know, streaming. But you know, we're here. I'm actually happy to see a few of you here. I was expecting zero people coming back right now. I was expecting zero people. It's gonna give an update, say hello everyone, I love you all, and I'm back. And the fact that even 10 of you are here, you know, are is amazing to me. So I have 10 friends across the world that you know, I'm here for. I'm here for you, and you guys, you know, obviously, thanks for being here for me as I return to the technical to the charts and to helping navigate these very, very difficult, I think, waters that were, it's already been difficult. I can only imagine we're going to have like equal to or the same, equal to or greater than what we have now. I especially once this thing starts going to the upside, people are going to lose their fucking minds. Everyone is bearish. Everyone thinks that we're going down. So my bear target, let's pretend I have a bear target. Um, and someone asked that earlier, what would be, because I called the bottom from the last bear market, what would be like my call now? And where is that? Where is that? Where is that, buddy? Uh, I'm looking for you. I'm looking for you. Oh shit. All right. Well, I feel like someone asked that, or maybe I created that. But if there was to be a bottom in Bitcoin, I would apply just the simple 90% crash rule, or like more like the 82% crash rule from the all-time high. So let's say, but that's the problem with what's going on right now. I think mining equilibrium price is too high for that to happen again. I'm gonna look it up right now. So let's see what we can find about mining equilibrium price right now. Hold on. The average break-even price for major Bitcoin mining operations is around 69 to $74,000 Bitcoin. Holy shit, dog. We are a lot closer than I thought. I actually thought it was like going to be like 40 grand or something like that. 40, I don't know. But with Bitcoin headed below that level today, many mid-tier miners are likely running at a loss, and only the most efficient operations remain profitable. Some newer, highly efficient rigs might still break even at lower prices, but older machines are mostly unprofitable. The latest ant miner, okay, okay, okay. Equilibrium price, often defined as the price where total mining costs roughly equal mining revenue. Based on recent estimates, that's roughly 70K. All right. Well, uh, so that's why I've heard talk about death spirals. All right, that answers that question. Yeah, eSnap. Yeah, of course. I remember you, buddy. But yeah, did you do something? What's this Beauty in Chaos podcast that you're doing? I'd love to hear more. Um, yeah. Yeah, I've actually funny enough, I've actually been gaming a little bit too. Been playing Arc Raiders. That game is fucking great. But anyways, we'll talk about that in just a sec. So mining equilibrium, we're sitting roughly like around or below it right now. That's fucking crazy. I don't know what to tell you. I don't think that means death spiral. Not even close. Bitcoin at 30K in a flash crash. Nah, nah, nah. There's too much vested interest in the success of Bitcoin, and running negative is something that companies do. Uh, they will be smart, but they can't affect their bottom line. If they death spiral Bitcoin and everyone, they can't, like, it would just freeze too much shit. There's too many people in fact, America just plugged in mining rigs. I think the American government has a mining operation under Eric Trump's authority or something like that, that accounts for something to the effect of 2% of global hash output. So I think we're doing okay. I don't think Eric Trump would be fucking plugging in machines 2% hash global. And that could be a little bit wrong, could be wrong. I'm not 100% sure. I'm gonna check this out. All right, I'm asking the question. So yeah, I've been yeah, so that's it. All right, we're gonna have to get to the bottom of some of this. Okay, does the U.S. government hold roughly 2%? Okay, no. Okay, all right, all right. American Bitcoin Corp. Okay, so that Eric Trump, co-founder and chief strategy officer of American Bitcoin Corp, publicly stated that one of the company's mining facilities produces about 2% of the daily new Bitcoin mined. Okay. Okay, that's different than what I said. Not 2% of the global hash rate owned by the US government or by American Bitcoin. That 2% figure is relating to daily output, not of total global hash power or a government stake. Okay. American Bitcoin is not US government. Okay. All right. Well, this is why we're back, guys. This is why we're back. You know what I'm saying? I've seen some shit. I haven't really thoroughly investigated it. We're doing it together, but it has stuck in my head. So with under, I would consider this a step around thorough investigation. Clearly what's going on is a mining operation got turned on and the dude is making a fuck ton of Bitcoin. And he's tied to probably one of the richest dudes on the planet. I don't think when you got people like that getting involved in business that they're expecting that they're gonna let the asset die to a death spiral, man. I bet you they just do it. Yeah, yeah, Dustin. Sorry, yeah, I got to that a little bit late. But yeah, honestly, to shitcoin or not to shitcoin, Bitcoin to me is still always the best money. I I don't think that there's maybe a claim to the contrary could be anonymity. I think anonymity there I like Monero and Zcash, and again, I'm not the fucking tech guy here, okay? But I believe Monero and Zcash have something that Bitcoin, well, they definitely have something that Bitcoin hasn't integrated. I don't know if it's something that Bitcoin can or cannot integrate, but they definitely have some, zero proof, no knowledge, whatever anonymity features. And I think that's one of the most valuable things. Uh, it's like Bitcoin getting kind of checked. Bitcoin's been checked, and it lost this check. My example of this is the shutting down of Whirlpool, Samurai's Whirlpool. Um, Bitcoin, and I think they even did it with Ethereum and like Thunder Cash or some sort of mixing service that was there. So, I I I just read your thing there, Dustin. It sidetracked me. I'll get back to you. Damn, what was I on? Fuck. All right, back to Dustin. His op is in the U.S. company. There's good reason the admin has proposed no tax on crypto. Okay, there's a good reason the administration has proposed no tax on crypto games. Well, sure, fucking. I mean, look, it's crypto. It's crypto. Shouldn't be shouldn't be taxed. I don't really like taxes at all. I don't like any of the taxes. I don't like I would if there was a tax where we could just build a fucking massive force field and not worry about anything except the killing of Christians and massacre obvious, clear things where a good guy needs to step in, and we are that good guy, which we may well very not like we might not be, honestly. The USA, we know everyone knows. I hope a lot of people know that a lot of Americans are kind of pissed but proud Americans, as we all would be. Think about Canada and all the fucked up shit going on there, or Europe or the UK. Tons of fucked up shit going on, and the people definitely are not being represented by the governments. I think it's the same could be said anywhere. We all got to just remember we are all bottom of the fucking barrel, fucking shit, fuck nothings to these people. There is no such thing. Honestly, I don't think there's such thing as a public servant. I think every single one of them, like almost every single one of them, looks at us as cockroaches or slaves or something to that degree, that level of low. So that's what we are to them. So yeah, and taxes is paying into that system. And I really hope to see taxes get disappeared one day. We're paying fucking what? Like, you remember all that Doge stuff? Department of Government official. We're paying for like transgender fucking education in Uganda. Like, what in the motherfuck is that, dude? Millions and millions and millions of dollars, and we don't even take care of our veterans that probably fought in unjustified wars, and then realize after years of having killed dudes in sandals and fucking robes that were just defending their homes, they get fucking sad and depressed and shoot themselves in their head. It's fucking crazy. Like how we don't take care of our own, but we really rush to the aid of others that we shouldn't give a fuck about. as Americans. I think we should, definitely be a Christian nation and have Christian ideals. I do believe in the service to others, but I'm just saying, take care of your own first. If you can't take care of your own, then who the fuck can you take care of? And clearly, America is a dying. It's a collapsing empire. And I think that this whole Trump thing going on, look, I'm a fan of a lot of certain things that have happened, but I could tell you, none of this stuff fools me. It's all fucking part of some like global conspiracy and end time prophecy. It's if you're, you can read Revelation, see a lot of this shit for yourself. Book of Daniel will be helpful, and obviously any of the Gospels have a little bit of some end time prophecy in there. But the Bible is I'm kind of more following how the Bible predicts the end of things. But yeah, this is all coming to a crescendo. They just did the COVID thing, and they keep talking about fucking depopulation. What the fuck do you guys think they're doing, dude? They keep saying 500 million. So they're definitely fucking gonna try to depopulate us, and they definitely fucking did with the COVID vaccine, which 80% of the world took willingly. Uh, they got in line and got the shot. So the government didn't even have to fucking hold anything above your head. So there's a lot of I think this is coming to a crescendo. I think these satanic elites are definitely coming to that fucking crescendo. They just proved that they can get 80% of you, not you, but 80% of their goal. Like that is the goal, and maybe more actually, maybe more depopulation. But they've just effectively neutered tons of males and females with that, with the mRNA. And they probably neutered a ton of people, chemically castrated a bunch of people unwillingly. They probably killed a ton of people, turbo cancered a bunch of people, killed people, hospitals, remdesivir killed people. Yeah, they're fucking it's crazy shit, guys. Yeah. So um yeah, Justin, I'm just the reason why I don't like tax on crypto is because you can live in crypto. If you know how to, you can live in crypto. And with or without, with or without, buddy. With or without. All right. Yeah, tried to start a podcast with some friends. Only posted 2 episodes and life got busy. Got my remote pilot license. Hell fucking yeah, brother. And doing some drone work, building portfolio. Nice. Yo, man, I'm happy to hear you grinding, dog. That's what's up. And flying is awesome. I don't personally like planes. There's something fucking weird to me about turbulence, and I will bug the fuck out. I don't. I'll like sit there calmly, bugging out in my brain, but I don't like turbulence. I really do not like turbulence. But I hope you have fun up there and stay safe, brother. Uh, yes, taxes are lame, especially when you find out where the money goes. That's the point, man. Why are you paying? Like I remember this picture, and guys, my Twitter is I forgot the password, and I don't know how to get it back. My Twitter has been an issue, but I think my pinned tweet, my Twitter probably still exists today, is a picture of the galaxy, and it's like you are paying taxes to satanic pedophile elites here, and it's like a pointing to a fucking speck of nothing because it's obviously a top-down view of like the galaxy. And it's like when you really put it in that perspective, it's like, yeah, these dudes are all fucking, going to Diddy parties and fucking kids and each other and wearing fucked up shit, and they're all like the chief of this thing and the leader of this organization, and they're all these big fucking people. They're all these big fucking people, all of them. It's crazy, dog. And all these dudes, we're paying taxes for that guy to go fucking get weird at some fucking Diddy party. We're the reason why he can live that lifestyle and pay for his fucking pizza and hot dogs is because American taxpayers are funding that fucking lifestyle. That's fucking crazy to me. Why in the fuck are we doing this shit? But then we have this whole other fucking thing going on where this is I'm not getting political. I'm just talking about what's happened, okay? And I'm not getting political. I don't really care. I don't really care. I look past this shit. It doesn't fucking matter. I already know how it ends. It ends with fucking Jesus coming back and you either enduring till the end or not. That's basically how this ends to me. Die in the name of Jesus. Accept Jesus Christ to your heart, Lord and Savior. He is mine. I am ready to die. I like to, obviously the words are there. I don't know if it's actually true. We won't know until that moment. But I think that's how things are headed. Revelation straight up says that shit. Euphrates River is drying up. Fucking all these biblical prophecies are coming true, man. It's like, what the fuck? You got to at least acknowledge the validity of some of these biblical prophecies, because out of something like 2,300 prophecies in the Bible, 95% of them have come true. The ones yet to remain are ones of the future. It's crazy. So yeah, I mean, I I don't like the idea that we have just given up. And this is where we were in the COVID times, right? I was pissed and fuming and yelling, right? All that good shit. Let me change this a little bit up. Yeah. I was pissed and fuming and all that shit, okay, right? We were pissed about COVID and fuck these lawmakers and all these fucking satanic fucks. But uh shit. Okay. Uh yeah. Yeah. So, anyways, yeah, we're just we're paying these people. We're basically funding the lifestyles of satanic pedophile elites with taxes, and I think well, we probably realize that. There's 10 of us here now. We probably realize that. And I think a lot of people don't. I think a lot of old people don't. I don't expect my grandma to be up to date with current events. As much as I wanted to be pissed at my grandma for like not wanting me around her during COVID, for example, because I was unvaccinated, I can understand that old people are very accustomed to getting their information through mainstream media. And mainstream media was obviously you know, lighten it up, making the world stage, So, eh, yeah, whatever you do, don't talk about the Super Bowl halftime show or you'll get banned again. I didn't watch it. I didn't watch it. I don't fucking care, man. I like football's rigged. Fuck football. Sometimes even the UFC is the only thing that we as actual sports fans, we probably have UFC and we probably have hockey. Those are probably the last two fucking sports that are A, filled with actual men and probably not entirely compromised. Uh, Football players lifting up metal and putting it down and then wearing pads and doing what they do and calling themselves gladiators, they can fuck right off and get back on the short bus. Fuck off. All right. Shut the fuck up. The gladiator does what Justin Gaethje does, and he will smash your 6'4" ass and fucking feed your nuts in your mouth. You aren't a fucking badass. Not to mention all these questionable calls, umpires that are fucked, and Vegas spreads that probably need fulfilling, and basketball games that are highly questionable. And all this fucking shit is going. I can't watch basketball. I can't watch soccer. I can't watch fucking grown men rolling around on the ground, covering their face when they stubbed their toe, maybe. It's fucking disgusting. I can't, and soccer is clearly controlled also by the referees. They have too much control over the outcome of the game, and you got too many little faggot pussies running and jumping on the ground and crying. You got something kind of similar with that starting to happen in the NBA, kind of growing and developing into that. And then you have, the pinnacle of fucking male sports, which is probably the UFC, and then you have fucking probably hockey. I'm not really a big hockey fan, but I will say there's nothing like fucking walking onto some ice, seeing some guys walk onto some ice and knowing that, these dudes are gonna fuck each other up. Half these dudes are probably missing a tooth or more, and and there's a guy on the ice whose sole purpose is to fight anyone who they fucking snap a finger and point at. Hockey is fucking badass, dog. Gary, bro. Oh, Gary, man. Yeah, funny enough, that's great to see you because I just saw your name when I looked in the Bitcoin lounge, and I saw you at the top there when I was looking at the link for it. It's good to see you, brother. Um, yeah, yeah, yeah. So, Al Cubes, thanks. Hit the like, brothers. Um, yeah, and snap. Drones remote. Okay, okay, okay. No planes. The turbulence fucks with me too. Oh shit. Yeah, well, look, I'm not freaking gonna stand on one of your new drone inventions and let you fly me over land at 60 miles an hour. If we let if we let app this craziness anger us, the accomplishment they accomplish their goal, Joe. Yeah, yeah, yeah. All right. So I agree with you, Dustin. I think got to focus on improving our own lives. Let the evil destroy themselves. I think that's largely correct. I think that's largely correct. There's something that the Pharisees approached Jesus about, claiming that he was a demon. That's why he was able to cast out demons. And he said like that's foolish as fuck because the house divided falls. A demon casting out demons means that we are a kingdom divided and that kingdom will die. That kingdom wouldn't rise to power. So I do not represent the devil. Your argument there is foolish as fuck. Um, I do think that we need to focus on the positives. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, man is only capable of controlling their response to emotion. You might not be able to even control your emotion, but you definitely cannot control who gets elected. You definitely cannot control the fact that Somalis are fucking raping the system blind with fucking all their all their illegal fake schemes and people are doing all this crazy shit. Yeah, no, it doesn't I don't get mad anymore. I just see it. I just like see that information nowadays. And I'm just like, oh, well, another check mark off the list. Okay, we saw that one coming. We can't, there's a lot of shit I would like to see go down. I think that it probably will. I think the pendulum swing too far left for the past 2 years. And just like when you flick that pendulum and let it go too far to one side, it's going to swing back and it's probably going to reach roughly the apex on the right side. So yeah, of course, yeah, we're probably going to be deporting people like fucking crazy. Probably going to deport some fucking politicians like that fucking that the Somali bitch in fucking Michigan or some shit. Elon Omar. She's deport that bitch. Anyone that fucking comes up in this country and fucking doesn't have an American flag on their front lawn and celebrate 4th of July with fucking hot dogs, burgers, and beers, shut the fuck up and get the fuck back out. Like, not racist. I respect all these people and their cultures. But yo, if you fucking come to America, speak good fucking English and benefit the system. And if that's what's happening, then I'm all for immigration. If these fucking Somali motherfuckers were inventing the Elon Musk's rockets, I don't think anyone would be arguing about the validity of the stay of some of these individuals. You know, I don't really argue about like Mexicans, for example. I grew up in California. I know about the farms. I know about how much of it is probably illegal labor. Uh, and I can tell you there's probably no farming without illegal labor. You can't just force people to work. We have too many people on how I think might even should be able to force people to work, especially if they're in the prison systems and stuff. But yeah, we get rid of all these illegals, Mexicans that are, a part of something like farming, which is like, food and one of the most important cornerstones of this country in terms of self-sustenance. Yeah, I think we need to have some sort of wiggle room. I don't really like seeing ice raids on fucking, I don't want to see an ice raid on a farm. I don't give a shit about an ice raid on a daycare that's just siphoned out fucking $20 million out of the American taxpayer system. Yeah, I want to see that motherfucker get his hands chopped off and sent back to fucking Somalia. Now he can't wipe his ass. He's completely fucking worthless in a pretty damn worthless place. Fucking fucking fuck all these fucking people, man. Like think about it. If you were getting robbed, you lose right now. You're already getting robbed. You lose roughly 50% of your paycheck that you work for, right? Let's say it's 30 to 50%. And then you realize that of that 30, 50 to 50% where you've been struggling to fucking put food on your table and stressing about bills and crying over how the fact that you will never be able to own a home and how your next promotion at 5% equals nothing. And that if you keep on this track in 10 years from now, you'll still be making fucking nothing and housing prices will be, and you're living this fucking American life, right? And you're working hard and you're not going to get anywhere. And then you see these fucking illegals come in here, rape the system, drive around in the top tier vehicles, and go unpunished, living off of you and all the people just like your hard work. That has got to be infuriating. It infuriates me on their behalf. It infuriates me on their behalf. Uh, yeah, I think we need to honestly, I think we need to not only deport these motherfuckers, but I think we need to beat the brakes off half of them. Just fucking cut these motherfuckers off from being able to make the world a worse place. I honestly think we need to get a little more strict, man. Even more. I'm pretty crazy about borders, I must say. I believe in defending the castle, and we see what's happening in Europe. and even Canada. The Canada with the massive Indians migrations, all these fucking India people coming in and all these Jeets coming in and fucking, throwing trash in rivers and fucked up shit like that. Because for generations, that's how they're fucking powered to shit on their foot and then to fucking kick it as far as they can. So, that's their version of wiping. Whatever the fuck these fuckers do. Don't bring that shit to a fucking first world country and try to integrate them into first world society. No, this isn't no Taming of the Shrew by fucking Shakespeare. This is like bringing a fucking animal, a monkey, into a fucking house and expecting it to be civilized. No, they throw their shit and they're a complete fucking, and they can probably kill you and they will without a second thought if you cross them. And that's exactly what these people do. They rape, they kill, they extort the system, they exploit the system. They they fuck with the fucking habitat of the natural inhabitants with zero remorse, zero regret. I mean, yeah, these motherfuckers got to go. I hope people will be punished for the fraud, dude. I really do. I think the discovery of this fraud will get worse, but I bet you the way that where the pendulum sits right now, remember how long the COVID pendulum lasted on the left? We probably have another 2 years of like ramped up shit. Like the gears are like going up, right? It went from a lot of words to now a lot of actions. And ICE is everywhere now. It's fucking every governor was saying, "Oh, fuck this guy. We're not gonna let these ICE motherfuckers in." And they try to block him, and next thing you know, you got fucking judges in jail getting arrested. You got fucking, politicians getting arrested. Yeah, and fuck those pieces of shit. They should be arrested. And absolutely, totally fine with them going to jail. And in fact, that fucking judge that just released the guy that killed that Ukrainian girl, stabbing her in the neck, that black dude, that fucking piece of shit just got released. He just got released. It's absolutely insane, man. I actually think what we need to do is like kind of civil war this shit. Um, we kind of need to civil war this shit, man. We shouldn't be allowing this stuff, but we're also pussies and we won't do it. And also, there's speaking of civil war, that's what I wanted to bring up about Venezuela. Venezuela is a very interesting situation to me for one reason and one reason alone. We walked in, let's set the stage. We walk into a country. Dustin, I'll be seeing you, brother. I'll be seeing you. I'll see you after this ban too, guys. I'll join my Telegram group. Make sure you're in my Telegram group for when I get banned again. And I'll probably have a Discord up and stuff too. Give me some time. I won't get banned from one video. It's gonna take some reports first, I think. I think you got to get reported before you get banned. So yeah, I'm pretty sure I won't get banned just yet. But yeah, we will definitely make sure you're in the Telegram channel because at least there I can, no, I'm not super active. At least there we won't completely lose touch. Link below the video. Now, we were talking about Venezuela. We walk into Venezuela and we jack a president. We basically just walked in there like a president of like one of the most mineral rich areas on planet Earth, oil and metals and so forth. And I don't know every single detail about this, okay? But we walk in, we fly in on helicopters, something like 20 helicopters. We neutralize like their entire army of hundreds of men. We kidnapped the president, and we did that without a single American life getting hurt or lost. And one of the helicopters might have gotten hit a little bit. Like that's it. We just jacked a fucking president with like 20 fucking Marines or some shit. 20 American soldiers and hundreds are down. Hundreds of Venezuelan troops, elite troops protecting the president are down, discombobulated. And it just made me realize, dude, we have these guns, right? We have all these fucking American guns, right? And it's like we like to think that we have these guns to fight a corrupt government. And I thought we came very close to that over the past few years. I thought we got very, very close to a civil war. But what I learned in that moment was that our dreams or whatever of potentially taking down a tyrannical government are probably fucking just delusional. If they can walk in, 20 dudes can walk in and fucking take a president out of another country while threats are being made and in the middle of it all, surrounded by an army, then we're fucked. Any fucking militia is fucked. So Uh, yeah. Um, I don't know what you mean, buddy, about no report coming from US 10. What's that? US 10? Uh, and I'm gonna stick around just a little bit longer, guys. Gonna gonna hang out with you guys and then and wrap this one up. Just kind of the I'm back type shit. But yeah, that's I was these things have largely taught me to just control yourself. Like don't get pissed about shit like everyone else. Don't get caught up in all that anger. Like someone mentioned earlier, that's probably I think it was Dustin that might have mentioned it actually that he said that's exactly where they want us, angry and isolated. That's what they want because that's when you're fucking crazy. Especially if you're a man and you're in this feedback loop and you have warrior thoughts going on, man. Holy shit. They drive you fucking mad, dude. That's what they were doing. They were separating us, creating divisions, and ultimately making us feel fucking terrible. I mean, that's obviously a great strategy to divide and conquer. So, yeah, hope you guys are still enjoying your cigars from time to time and, you know, getting in some push-ups and I've gotten into bowling. That's kind of been my thing for the past while. I like bowling a lot. Um, yeah, that's been my thing. Shit, what time? Fuck. Actually, I do have to go in 5 minutes. The 10 of us watching won't be reporting. Oh yeah, okay. No report coming from us 10. Okay, okay, okay. Okay. Yeah, thank you guys. No reports, please. Yeah. I mean, let's at least keep this thing alive for 2 weeks so that people can know I'm back and then we'll figure out the next steps. Figure out the next steps. But nice disc golf. Okay, okay. Yeah, there's some disc golf out here. It got pretty cold. Got pretty damn cold out here. The winters are rough, but yeah, summertime, there's a lot of shit like that going around here. People take disc golf very seriously. Um, but yeah, I got my nice little bowling bag with a couple balls, my shoes, and I can pay pretty cheap to bowl. Doesn't cost me very much, to bring me and William. So I love bowling, man. I had my high score last week of 256. That was my all-time high bowling. I'm not like that commonly, my average is quite a bit lower than that, but uh that was my all-time high. That was pretty badass. But yeah, I bowled a my third game was about a 200 as well. So I broke my 600 series average, which was nice. So that means your average is over 200 points per game, which is a pretty good thing to be getting for having been bowling a year and a half. So, all right, guys. Well, I'll stop the share, make sure that I end the stream properly. I don't know what's going on with the camera thing. I'm gonna try to fix that. But yeah, we'll figure out what's going on. You guys, much love. Thank you all for tuning in and obviously the long time love and support. And you guys just, you know, fucking much love to you all and I'll look forward to being around. I just, if you guys have questions, reach out to me again on Telegram at Joe_Saz Saz, or obviously the Joe Saz Bitcoin Lounge, Joe_Saz_Bitcoin_Lounge. That's a Telegram group. Still got a good amount of people in there, Gary's in there. And yeah, at the very least, that's where I should probably be posting my fucking links up everywhere and shit, man. I'm out the game. I'm out the game. I gotta fucking get back into this shit, make everything normal again. I love you guys. Uh any questions, message me, and of course we'll be back. We'll be back tomorrow. Same shit. All right. Love you all.